It is said that necessity is a mother of invention, that man-made products derive from society's necessities as a solution, a simpler and shorter way to get by. There are many inventions that back up this common sense view. For example, the telephone that arose from the need to communicate, or the car that fulfilled the need of transportation. However, what many fail to realize is the fact that as inventions arise, other necessities arise as well. For example, the cell phone arose from the telephone, and from the cell phone, the need to text.
So I think that texting has had a significant influence among students. I certainly believe that it affects their social skills in the sense that we're compressing language and we're compressing the way that we communicate with one another down to these, certain amount of characters that one can use in a text message. We are no longer communicating face to face.
Negatively affected students' social skills. It's very difficult to have a conversation with a student where they're not pulling their phone out and checking it 4 or 5 times, where they're not trying to connect. I have students who sit in class and they're connected to their phones. They can't turn them off and let them be, and which is amazing to me because I grew up for 45 years without ever having a phone, and now everybody has one and they're connected. Last thing is that I'll get a lot of papers where students write like they text. And so U should be Y-O-U, but it's spelled U, and R should be A-R-E, and it's spelled R. I think that texting has some negative impact.
Regarding classroom policy and the use of technology, I've made multiple adaptations to the way that I try to govern my classroom. I used to be very hardcore. I didn't want to see any technology at all. But I found that it disrupted the flow of my class because my TAs were constantly walking around and asking people to shut their computers or to turn off their phones. And so I've retracted that policy, and now I tell them that if they're using anything that's distracting or disrupting to students around them, they will be asked to leave.
I've had to make quite a few changes in my classroom policy due to texting. The first one is that I tell students that they can't have their phones on at all during class, simply because if you allow them to have their phones on, they're going to text. I've literally sat through speeches where students are giving presentations and looked around the room and 4 or 5 students are texting their friends because they don't need to listen, even though through listening you learn tremendously. So that's one of the policies that I have. The other policy, and one of the reasons why I don't allow phones on during class time, is because sometimes students will actually text the answers to a test from one student to another, or they'll have their answers on their phone.
he made his way over to the driveway over on Mayfield. He came down that driveway, down Mayfield, and now he's on Briggs, and now it looks like he's turning into another driveway here. We're going to kind of maneuver around and see if we can get another shot of him. But yeah, he would definitely.
Right there.
Okay, we got someone, a resident there.
$14,528.
Her 1 month texting record, 36,666. And they told us that the break from the pressures of work, school, and the intense social interactions of a modern teen, it lets these families reconnect in an old-fashioned way.
So what can you do about this? The answer is simple. Go out. Enjoy life. Go talk to your friends. Get some coffee. But more importantly, put on your cell phones. And that is how you're going to improve your social skills.